Hello! Today we're going to go over a technique called faux embossing, which gives you an erased embossed look without having to use a stylus or any other type of impressions tool. So to do this technique, all you need is one bold stamp, a ink cartridge that's similar to the color of cardstock that you're using, and a white ink pad. So let's get started. I'm using the Almost Amethyst colored cardstock, and I'm using the Almost Amethyst colored ink. So in this case I'm using the same, but if you don't have the same, you can use just a color that's similar and you'll get the same look. So what I'm going to do is just take my stamp and just randomly stamp on my cardstock. And so I'm going to be just creating a background using this technique. And I like to twist to ink up my stamps. Slightly off the paper. This is a little tip when making a background to make it look more real. And then I'm going to clean my stamp, and this is critical when you're using white ink to really make sure your stamp is clean so you don't damage your white ink pad. And what I like to do is after I clean it with my Stamp and Mist, I like to just kind of stamp on my scratch paper to make sure there's no residue or leftover color on my stamp. And now to get this faux embossed look, I'm going to now just stamp with my white ink pad right on top of the previously stamped image. Now I'm using Stampin' Up's white craft ink, and this craft ink is very moist and sticky, and so I don't want to get white ink everywhere, and I don't want my card to stay moist where I have to wait for it to dry. So what I'm going to do is first I ink up my stamp and I just stamp it off once on my scratch paper, and then I'm just going to stamp directly over a previously stamped image. Now if you're not using white craft ink and you're just using some other white ink, you will not have to do this stamping off. But if you are using Stampin' Up's craft ink, this is what I found works the best. And I'm not using clear stamps, and I'm not using a Stamp-A-Majig. I'm just eyeballing it as best as I can. It does not have to be perfect. You will actually want it to be offset because that's what's going to give it the look. So I'm just stamping right on top of the previously stamped image and slightly off, which is totally fine because that's what you want. And now as you can see, just by using my stamp in two colors, it looks as if that image is raised and there's a shadow. So this is faux embossing. And let me just show you a completed card. I just added a sentiment with a little accent here. Very simple. So just play around with this. You can use whatever color you like, and the magic here is the white ink pad. So thank you for joining me, and happy stamping!